Oi, 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 this is Codie.
And this is Manuel. Welcome to our first exercise review. I made a little attempt to solve it. So what was the problem? But first of all, never forget it. What tea are you drinking, Codie?
Yeah, that's true. I actually have a raw pu'er today. I went
Okay.
I went all out. Like I have the whole menu right here, the whole thing.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. I'm still tired from today, so I need something to kick my ass a bit.
Yeah.
And you?
For me, it's South Korea, Seo Hwang,
Oh,
from an island called Jeju.
yeah. Famous island. Is
Yeah.
it a green tea?
It's green, yeah. It's a green
Yeah,
tea.
nice. That kicks in too good.
Yeah. I think I need something like that too today. I mean, it was super hot and tiring, so this is always refreshing. And maybe I also can simply show the set. So this is what it looks like on my end. So
Nice.
yeah. All right. That back to our course. Professional Python exercise 1 weather API. So what was the goal? It was to just simply start with a script, nothing really about architecture and stuff like that, but the goal was to communicate with an external system, like in this case a weather API, and it should output something to the console. So this was the basic idea. And yeah, we had different scenarios, like fetching weather data for the history, so meaning 3 days past, and also for the future, like a forecast, and for bonus points, which I did not do until now, display the whole thing on the map. So this is I chose because of the weather API I used, which didn't allow for any historic data. I chose to do the forecast for 3 days, and yeah, so that's my attempt here.
Yeah, I'm quite happy that you had the suffering everyone has who tries to use an open API. Usually,
Oh yeah,
finding a good API is so hard, and you usually pay also quite some money for it. So
yeah.
I won't be too hard on you that you didn't kind of manage, because all I wanted is that you and other people have to deal with an outdoor system, like nothing you have under control.
Yeah.
Because APIs can be such a pain in the ass. Sorry to
Yeah.
say,
Yeah.
There's rate limiting sometimes, sometimes they throttle you, and you need to deal with all of it, and then you, could cry whole day about it.
You're a slave to the API. If the functionality is not there, well,
Yeah, but also I like APIs and stuff like that, because for testing it can be a bit painful. And from that sense, I recommend it. A question ahead: How do you want to go in? Should we go full senior mode, or you want to be mid-level, or it's kind of like a video game now. Which difficulty you want? The senior, the medium, or the junior developer?
well, for me, always the highest difficulty, because I want to learn
Okay,
as
we
much
going
as
hard,
possible.
man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I have I don't have my senior cap with me, but I will put it on now. Okay.
Yeah, your
Wait.
PhD hat or so.
No.
No. It was, I think it's just that we get the most of it, what we could learn. I think that's, but maybe I don't know what I wish for. So yeah.
I still have this one. Okay, we go senior mode now.
All right.
Okay. So
Yeah.
seniors, they never look very serious and threatening. They always have a little bit of loose stuff on, and you would never identify them as seniors until you met them in a code review. Okay, let's go in hard then.
Yeah.
Let's play the game. So I took already had a look at your repo, and I must compliment you. Not because it's good, but because it's a good lesson to learn.
Encouraging, yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good lesson.
I already know the meme which we can play.
Okay.
So yeah, so this is the repo. You can see here. By the way, I'm glad that you're here. And also, I will go in as productive senior today, not as toxic. I might switch sometimes that you feel a bit what a toxic person would be. So you also get a bit of feeling, not only for senior and stuff like that, but also how to deal with stress. Because just today, I have one last story. I had a review from another senior. And I got on a PR where I was pretty certain 16 comments, and that is pretty low for him. Usually goes to 25.
Or 16.
16.
Okay, yeah, wow.
And in the first moment when you open that PR, usually you think like shit, because that's just your ego. At the first moment it blocks.
Yeah.
And what's important for you is to relax. Breathe in. Sounds stupid, but you really need to do that. And then you open up again, and then you can process it. And most of the time, it's not a bad discussion. Maybe 1 or 2 points. It's a bit too, fine-grained, as you will figure out now in a second. But otherwise, it's really good input.
Yeah.
And I really recommend the same to you. But yeah, of course, if the other person is a bit pushy and then looking down on you, then it's pretty tough to do that too.
Yeah, that's a harder pill to swallow. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I always tell people you can tell hard truths, but you can try to give them friendly. Like a friend of mine always said, you can say friendly no. It's, you don't have to, push it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's get started. I bore already everyone, Manu. So what I really like about it is you added a license file, which most people, when they write just a script or something, they don't do. I also like MIT license. That's a little no-brainer, so people can just use whatever they like it.
Yeah.
You added a README. That's good too. You added a git ignore, which most people don't, and I really appreciate it. And I also appreciate that you added your file where you store your secrets here. That's very good practice.
I had a hard time with that, I must say, because, well, you don't want to push a API key to a repo, right, which is public. So, but I don't think that's the best solution, but I think we will maybe get into those kind of stuff later on a later lesson or exercise, or maybe also directly. I don't know.
Note that happens only once usually, that you like there are those people who committed their API keys and those who will.
Well, I just was recording the whole thing where I did that, and I just thought middle in the video, well, I'm showing the public API every 2 seconds, right? So this hindered me to commit it. Yeah.
Okay, let's come to the part which I don't like about this repo, by the way. You wrote a README, that's nice, but for me, when I read it, I couldn't tell why, but I already immediately feel it's not enough. For example, how do I use the snippet? Okay, I run it, but you use an external API. I don't know. I would run it, I would get an error now, and I would have no clue how to fix it. So which API are we, for example, interfacing is one point I would like to be listed here. This is the task description, but I would also have quickly 2 or 3 lines what the code exactly does. Because this is a bit fuzzy here, because this is not what it does. This is just a task description, I figured, when I checked your code.
Yeah, that's right.
So that's a bit about this one. Not a big issue, because you don't use a lot of packages, but you could provide a requirements.txt file for installing the dependencies.
Yeah, I thought about that. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
But it's no problem, because you only use, I think, one package. So
it's one package, but there is a dependency which I installed because I needed to do it, which I didn't. Yeah, this should have got me to the requirements text.
Easy.
Yeah. All right.
Don't worry.
Yeah,
this is just the beginning,
It's the beginning.
Don't start sweating already.
Yeah. All right. I'm breathing in. I'm drinking tea. I will relax again.
I enjoy it like a horror movie or something like that. Yeah. A big wish from my side. If you want a code review from anyone, do a PR, a pull request. Most people might not know it, which just write scripts sometimes, but you can open just a second branch and then do a pull request. And what it does for those people who don't know it is it kind of opens a nice view where you see what the person did and you can comment on that in the code. And this is the way you usually do it. And I know Manu did it on purpose to me because he's playing the junior. Yeah.
Yes.
But so in the next time we do a real PR, so you know how it feels in a company to do a PR. And how it works. It's super simple. Like, don't be afraid of it. In the beginning, I was so afraid of it, and it's so stupid that I was. Pretty good about the PR is usually you write the code and you're pretty blind. It's the same for me. No matter how good you are, you're just blind. But in a PR, before I invite someone, I usually go over my own code changes and review quickly my own code. And that helps already to filter out another 30% of the issues, usually fine. So don't think that, I write perfect PRs just because I'm experienced. No. I also need to, pull my own ears from time to time. Okay, that's for the repo. So you fine so far? You still around?
I'm still around. Yeah, sure.
It's good. I have 2 more pages of annotations now.
All right. Easy start.
All right. Very too much.
Yeah.
So we go in easy. I saw you used a library for geolocation. I actually like that.
Yeah. I mean, there was even an easier solution, but this didn't caught my eye. I could have used the same API, which I'm using, with the same API key, because it also offers geolocations. But until then, I was 2 or 3 Googles ahead and already implemented this with Python only code and stayed with it. Yeah.
No, this is also fine. I like that you use a package. Never use too many packages. But also never, don't try to write everything yourself.
Yeah.
If there's a good package doing something, pick it.
Yeah.
And in Python, you don't have the issue like in Node.js where you have install a front end and you have 10,000 packages as dependency.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, not 10, but around 1,200, I think, has Angular.
Yeah.
So, your lib, I will get to that later, but it's not the best choice, actually. So it's not a big deal, but it's kind of a big deal from a senior point of view. But okay. So now we get in and let's first quickly check. So all you do basically is you read in the main some API key, then you instantiate this class, and then you do some function call. I jump quickly down so people know what you did. So all he does is instantiate this class here, seemingly, which inside instantiates another class, which is this one here, and they both called it a single function. That's basically it. So you see the code is not big. It's 101 lines. That's pretty nice. Actually, a PR also should never exceed 200. Today I wrote one with 500. So, if it's more than 200 code line changes, usually you need to grab the person who reviews your PR. Otherwise, they are lost. Sometimes it's just way too much. Keep a bit of feeling. Good coders, they never have strict rules. They use feeling like a cook, you don't measure salt or that stuff every time. You use feeling, because sometimes some salt is stronger, some is weaker, and so forth. So also in the code, listen to your feeling. Is someone lost? Okay, then help him. Okay, let's get in. Here's this doc string for this class, which describes that it kind of does 3 days of forecast. But does it really do 3 days forecast?
Not precisely. It does at least 3 days, but to be fair, the stupid API has no regular data. So it tells you that you have 5 days forecast maximum, and you get 3 hours of time difference between 2 data points, but it's not equally spaced. So on the nighttime you don't have as many data points as during daytime. So, and you just have the parameter of how many timestamps you want. So it covers at least 3 days, but maybe a bit more.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could be a little bit more elaborate here,
Mm-hmm.
but I get you. It's a little bit hard to describe it. If you're unhappy with an API, you can also write it in a comment.
This stupid
Yeah, no.
API. Yeah, okay.
No. So people know that it's not so simple doing the task with that API, and maybe that's also a good indicator later to move on.
Okay. Yeah.
Now let's go into senior mode. You forgot a dot here. You didn't finish the sentence with grammatically correct. And this might sound stupid, but I get a ton of those every day, you know.
Yeah.
Next one is this description here about the API key. I mean, you say absolutely nothing. You should just say blah, blah, blah should contain the API key. And that's it, you know. That's way not enough about it. But your API key is in the wrong place anyway, more or less. So we'll figure that out later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then you have these parameters here. And what you actually wanted is attributes, not parameters. You have a typo here. That's senior mode again. Like seniors really care about every detail. It's pretty simple to become a senior. Just read everything from top down, including every line, every comment.
Yes.
Really everything. And that's it. You don't need to, like, a lot is not about experience always necessarily, but a lot is just about being thorough about reading the review. Okay.
Yeah.
So then next here is some location tuple, the coordinates on the Earth you're storing from the location city. This could be more typed. You can give tuple int. You could do it so you know that both are integers inside. Yeah. The rest is fine. I don't know why you added this space here. Like, kick it out.
Oh, this is just yeah. This is not was not done properly, I would say.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah,
that's fine. Like seniors, they always smack you, but then they say it's fine, it's okay, you know, because otherwise people run away if you smack them all the time.
Yeah, sure.
You know?
Yeah. You have to keep your balance as a senior. Yeah.
Take a sip of tea because we go in now. You know, I also take one.
All right.
I mean, we managed now the imports and the comment. Yeah. Okay. So.
All right. Yeah. It's not much to go, right?
No, it's basically 20%, 25%. Okay, you have a constructor here. It's okay, but you have not documented the API key here.
Yeah.
So if you do a doc string, at least document it. I mean, it's a no-brainer, but still, please do the favor.
Yeah.
Then you do something very odd, but we will get to that later. You instantiate the second class to figure out where the city is, and then you store the city locations in the class itself, which is totally fine, more or less. But then you also do stuff like you store the city, but you could also put it up here, so you also see it up here. You know, like location coordinates you have here. You have API key also up here, but you don't have city up here, so just stay consistent if you can. Yeah. Okay, so this is this function here. It feels a bit fishy and odd to me what you do here, and we'll get to that later. And that's also when you program. I mean, you wrote this in a rush. I know that.
Yeah.
And afterwards, you're done. You're just totally flat in the mind.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually helping you now because I come in with a fresh mind and heart, and I can see this.
Yeah.
If you do coding yourself, also do that sometimes. Step away. I don't know. Leave it for half a day. Come back and just look at the code and go a bit in your feeling. And feel, is this good or not? Okay. Then comes this function. This is basically the main function doing something. You have the same thing again. Please hear a big F if you start a sentence and a dot in the end.
Yeah, it's elementary school all over again. Yeah, but you're right. Yeah, sure.
It sounds super stupid, but our senior smacks me all the time with it because I'm also not the best at grammar and that stuff, with English, and he's all the time correcting my sentences, and I'm like, shit, man.
Yeah.
Okay, so that part. Then you also like this reload description, and also in the function signature you didn't give this a type. I mean, it's obvious by the default value, but type hints would be welcome here too, also for this one.
Yeah.
Now you build this odd string here together, which is the request URL for the API. Okay, this is where a bit the pain starts, but everyone who sees this already knows it feels a bit odd to build this very complicated string like this. You did it well. I like the F strings and all, and how you broke it down, but just it feels still wrong. Because I don't know, these odd syntax and signs and all of that, you should never type that yourself. That's one of the rules. And that's a consequence because you used URL lib, which is lower level.
This needs a string, right, for a request.
Yeah, you could, a lot of these things you put in here, you could do through the requests module, actually. It's a bit more higher level, it's a more mature, it offers you a lot of options where you can put this in very simply, and you don't risk to format it wrongly here, because building these strings, I know it's super annoying, and it's much better just to use the right module then. So you see, doing also for the viewers, doing things does not mean doing things. Check if there's maybe the other option a little bit better or something. Just read the docs quickly or check whatever. And if it feels a bit painful to do something, most likely check double if there's a better solution. So then we go in. You basically build this one here. And you build a file path where you cache stuff. I know you already told me before that the API calls, it has a limit, right? How many calls you may make?
It's fairly high, but I thought it would be good practice to not trigger the API when I don't need to, because I was debugging stuff in this part of the code. So I think it's 60 calls per minute and 1200 calls per day. Those are the rates. So I never triggered the rate in this case, or the rate limit, but yeah.
Here I didn't think about it, but it's still calling it reload sounds a bit odd to me.
Yeah.
I thought about it quickly, and I came to use cache or something, because it's basically caching the data on disk. But I don't know, caching is so tricky and so much misunderstood and wrong. It also felt wrong. So I would ask you here if you come up with a good idea how to call it, not reload, because it's so unclear what happens behind it if you say reload. I mean, what if it does not reload?
You could refresh weather data, for example.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
No, it's not better.
Okay.
Okay. Need to think about it. But you see here, that's one of the discussions. But usually the best is if you're uncertain about it, just move on. Don't waste too much time. If it bugs you again in a big way, it has been a pain point. Otherwise, you discuss variable names for 5 years.
Yeah. Right.
Okay. So basically what you do here is when you reload, you go in and load all the data. Through the web call. You use the request here from the URL, blah, 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 go in. And then, you store it basically in a file. So no magic. I'm not sure. For example, this is one of the parts which confuses me, why you have ensure ASCII. Is it because of UTF-8 encoding?
Actually, I really don't know about the reason. I got this from Stack Overflow.
Yeah, nice. That's a good answer. And I accept it. And I can tell you why. I mean, usually the strings which come back can have emojis. And of course, ASCII signs don't contain emojis. You need UTF-8 for that.
Yes.
So this makes entirely sense. But the request module would do a lot of that stuff automatically for you. You wouldn't have to care about arguments like that.
Yeah, right. So it would make the job a lot easier too. So
exactly, including error handling. And I also want to note here that this is a pro situation. The question is, who is this script for? Is it just for using sometimes you have around from some developers, or is it really for users? If it's really for users, take the time, sit down, do proper error handling, which means check what errors come back and eventually convert them into nice messages. Because I got running a script and getting smacked in the face like bam with a HTTP error, code 506 or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Then you're like, what the fuck is going on? You know?
Yeah. I can imagine some of those in this case.
As a developer,
API
I don't care.
Or so. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. But if I'm a user, that's fine. I know this is for developers, so I will step back here. But this is just a really great example where I like to also pinpoint people. Think about who's this for.
Yeah.
You know, that determines how your code should look like. You do it not for yourself. You do it not because you're cool. You do it because there are people behind it and they need the software to make their life easier. And you don't do them a favor if you do that. And if you spend time writing the code, then also spend time writing the code in an appropriate manner for them. Okay. So that's that part. Okay. We accept that for the moment. That is more or less fine. What I don't like, we will get to that in a second maybe. Should I do it already now? Yeah. Okay. If you don't reload, of course, you use the cache from the file. You simply load the payload from before.
Yeah.
Okay. That's fine. Little hint. You could also use a temporary directory or something like that to store it in the temp folder. The good thing is on Linux or something, if you restart the machine, it gets easily deleted from time to time and stuff like that. Okay. But I know, remember, caching stuff is hard. People always think just dumping some data somewhere, and it's not so simple. When do you need to refresh it, you know, and stuff like that. It's
how do you delete it? Yeah.
Be careful, like doing it thoroughly. Yeah. But I like that you just took a simple approach and dumped it next to yourself. At least you see then the trash which you create and can toss it.
Yeah. And if that file is not existent, I trigger the reload anyways. So not really bothering what the user set for reload. Because if the file is not there, I cannot really... Yeah.
Exactly.
So, and if that's in a cached folder, maybe I don't really know that I have a file still there. And
there are standard folders on the operating system.
All right.
Where you can check that. The trick is, I didn't know that before this year, but it's called XDG or XGD. I always confuse those two letters. Which kind of it's a standard way to define where you put something. Also temporary cache and whatsoever. And all the applications, if you ever look it up, they cache it at the exact same spot, and it's defined also cross-platform.
Okay.
So there's even a library for that in Python.
All right. Okay.
So you never have to think about where you dump your stuff, because you can dump it through the system, and that makes entirely sense. What you could also do here is you could always just load maybe the data, and if it's too old, you could refresh it.
Sure. That would be also definitely a good case, yeah.
That would be maybe the easier than you get rid of this argument here even.
Yes, right. Yeah. Cache it always, load it first. If it's not there, reload it. If it's there, check if it's old, reload. Yeah, that would make sense.
Yeah, pretty neat. Okay. You guys see going senior mode is definitely heavy. That's why I warned before. Don't get disappointed or something if you get this. This is really good stuff. If people take the time to thoroughly tell you what you can do better and how you can do better, and I'm sure that you will grow and it will benefit you really well. So yeah, don't get in the middle or something now. Discouraged or anything, because you did a good job. Like the software did already what it should do, and it looks okay. You know, it's not bad at all. Now this is just for pushing a little bit the level up.
Yeah, sure. I'm
Not
totally
for
fine
you.
with
This is
that.
for the people. Your script is not good, you know.
No. Okay.
When I was your age, I had to write assembly every evening until and if it was not right, my father didn't let me sleep.
It must compile.
Oh, I tell you, and if it was a SAC fault, this was a bad day.
You young folks with that garbage collectors and shit, we didn't have those tools. We made
had to
ourselves.
We were our own garbage collector. No, my dad was always great, I must say. So don't get the wrong impression. My dad was harsh on me. They're quite the opposite.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yeah. There were harder times definitely in software engineering.
Yeah.
So let's go for part 2. You get the JSON payload, which is pretty simple, and then you deserialize it and you print out the data.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Super cool. Multiple things.
Super cool. It's rubbish. All right.
Yeah, I don't know. I try to wrap it in candy as much as I can. First of all, what you could do,
Yeah.
if it's not a lot of data, and here it isn't, you can use actually a class to deserialize the JSON payload, and by that you can be sure that inside is what you want it is inside. Okay. Maybe we can show next time an improvement or something. We do in a few, maybe not next week, but in some time, the improved version, where we show that a classical library for that is Pydantic, for example. Yeah. Many APIs do that, so you get not only the JSON payload, but you get it as a struct or a class, better said. Already starts speaking German.
Yeah.
And because the issue is always you use here keys like this, but you never know if it's really that. The downside is parsing costs performance, and this can really matter, especially in Python. So if you receive a lot of data, I wouldn't mind if you say, nah, for performance reason, I stay on the dict, on this dictionary here. I would be like, oh yeah, definitely. Like if you get 1,000 data points here in this call and you want to process them all, oh yeah, definitely I can understand that. Better avoid that. Not that it's costing too much or something, but all adds up in the life.
Sure. Yeah.
Then let's go in here. What I also would be, I'm fine that you use some static strings here to decode the payload is, if you read the specs of the API and it guarantees, go ahead. If it's guaranteed that this shit is inside, that's super.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I didn't know. It's was
you
like
not
that.
Say that. Like
yeah.
I would at least expect an honest lie from you.
No, I cannot lie in this case. Well, this API doesn't tell you if it's always there also, but it looks like it is. But when can you be sure? I mean, it's not specified that this will never change. Yeah, the spec doesn't say anything. It just says, all right, it looks kind of this what you're getting, and those are the parameters, what they mean, but there's nothing about, well, maybe we changed that all or call it differently. This could
No, if they say you get that, you get that.
Yeah, okay.
That's okay.
All right, so this is spec. Yeah, this was it. Yeah.
Yeah. So you see here, there's a little bit of a fuzzy area, but if you know how to navigate a little bit, dict or class or stuff like this, with a bit of experience, this will fade and you know exactly what you do. By the way, I don't get why you do these things in 2 lines to get a variable here and this. You can already inline it here.
Yeah, you're
just
right.
A little improvement.
Yeah.
Another thing here for printing out data.
Yeah.
Printing out data is a delicate thing. I didn't say it, and the last time I did my last coding interview at Bosch, myself when I applied. I did the same thing as you, just printed it out as a message. What I actually got smacked with was, why didn't you print it out in, for example, JSON? Because then at least another program could eat it and do something else with it. And that's a pretty good answer, actually.
Okay.
Because you can print it out in different formats. Here it doesn't really matter because I didn't ask you to. But again, think about who this is for.
Yeah, sure.
This is for some people who want the weather data just nicely on their app or something. Definitely print a message.
Yeah.
But this is something which might be in the construct of the infrastructure. You just, I don't know, fetch something and maybe then you process it further in a pipeline or whatever. Definitely go for a machine format you can easily process. Okay.
Mm-hmm. All right. But in this case, what would be the JSON which I should print out? Should I?
You could build your own JSON.
Build my own JSON.
Whatever you
Yeah.
like.
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Understood.
I mean, JSON, for those who don't know, it is JavaScript object notation. It's basically just Python dictionaries printed out nicely. It's called JavaScript object notation because in JavaScript, every object is an object. It's kind of like a dictionary. Even classes are dictionaries, you could say there. It's not true, but it's kind of true, to cut short here. So yeah, you want to do that here. So, okay, so this is fairly simple, but now we go into this where you get the location from, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why are you laughing?
I'm just not sure if I should tell you that I had those in those lines of codes priorly. I had them in the other class integrated, and then I thought about decoupling them because it's just different tasks, and so I went with the two classes approach, which now I have the feeling was not the best choice. So
that's good. Trust your feeling.
Yeah.
That's okay. By the way, I find it really funny because you do use underspaces in class names.
Yeah.
It's so hilarious.
I'm so confused. Snake case, camel case, all over the place, but all right.
You make snamel case.
What? Yeah.
Snake and camel case.
Yeah.
There's also stuff in between, and so no, like you no underscore here. Just use camel case for
camel
classes.
Case for classes. All right. Yeah.
It's fine. But yeah, like I said, I won't kill you for that. Okay, same thing here with the docstring. Could be a bit better and stuff like that. Attributes. Mm-hmm. That's about it. You don't initialize them here. I don't know. Just stay consistent, whatever you do.
Yeah.
I usually like to have them initialized. It's just so much more readable.
Yeah, right. Right.
Yeah. Then we go in. You basically have in the constructor just one function. I find that so hilarious. But I like that you actually don't do the work in the constructor. That is very good. Don't do that. If you try to keep the constructor small. Yeah.
They're not pretty.
No. I really like this one here for that reason. So let me quickly check. By the way, sorry, before I forget it here with a line break missing, please make a bit of space between those two. They are not happy together. They don't like each other so much, you know. Mm-hmm. It's all this little tiny stuff you usually get in the face if you ask a senior.
I mean, I wish there was an auto formatter for that, right? I mean, it would not be that hard, is there?
It's a good question, actually. Yeah, might be. I don't know. I never checked it, actually.
Because those kind of things could be very easily automated, right?
Yeah.
Also grammar stuff, right? So this could be fixed. Yeah. Maybe I have to search a little bit about that.
Okay, then let's go in. Again, same thing. Tuple could be more strongly typed. You can make tuple, then round braces int, and then you know it's a tuple which contains two ints. Really cool.
Okay.
Then you get the city from the input.
Yeah.
I like that, except that it's here. I'll tell you in a second why, but big lesson, big enlightening I had when I was learning programming with some more experienced people.
Yeah.
When I learned Haskell, especially, I checked Haskell a bit. I cannot program it, but this was the revelation I had from that language: is put side effects to the beginning of the program. Mm-hmm. What are side effects? Side effects is everything that happens on the side, in like contacting another system, writing files, reading files. But why is it called a side effect? Because you cannot guarantee that if you run a function twice with the same arguments, that it will go smooth as every time. Because sometimes, for example, you write to a disk, and then you trigger that function again, but the disk is not mounted anymore, and you get a error. So that's a side effect.
Yeah.
And what I really like about Haskell is it forces you to put side effects to the highest level.
Okay.
And why is this so good? In this language, it does not matter. Python encourages you to program pretty badly in that sense. But it's good because at the highest level, you could replace this standard input, which you read in here, by simply putting in a string or something, you know? And then you can test your code really easily, okay? In every compiled language, this will save your butt. If you code Golang or something, you really need this because otherwise you cannot replace this piece of code here because you want to inject something for testing. And you cannot inject it if it's hard-coded asking you in the console. So you cannot test your code at all.
Right.
So pretty easy lesson. Whatever you do, put it as high as possible. And this is the lowest level here where you can put it. And you could simply put this right here to ask for the input and then just give it all. Give it all the functions downwards. And that's perfect then. Okay. Then my side effect is so visible at the highest level and I can replace it anytime.
But this means you don't have a class for getting the input, right? So you would just code that in the main function of the script.
You could also use a function.
Okay, yeah.
You don't need a class. We get to that later.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Quite funny also. I don't get why you put city here, by the way. I figured that out at this point because city's not used here anymore.
Yeah, that's right. I thought that it would be great maybe to fetch it later as a parameter in this case for outputting reasons or so. For example,
that was my thought too, but you didn't.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it. Okay, yeah. City as output. Yeah.
No.
Noted. Yeah.
Oh, good. So just as a note here for the user input. So we get the stuff. We do the geolocation magic. Get the location out. Really nice. You do... you check if it's none, and if it is none, then okay, I just realized you do a return here. Why do you return here?
This is so advanced. No, it's just implicit coding because you're just calling the function again.
Ah, Jesus, this is a recursion.
Recursion,
okay.
Yeah. Sorry, not implicit. Yeah, I was just thinking in FEA terms. No,
okay.
Recursion.
You caught me, man. You caught me. That's good. That's a star for you, man.
Yeah, isn't that nice? I was so happy as I figured that out how to do this. Yeah,
that's actually really nice until you reach the recursion limit. But I guess people won't enter that often wrong answers.
Yeah, hopefully not. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot about this completely. There's a limit? Yeah, I know.
Not in every that's there is a limit in most languages. Not in every language. Some, like I said, Haskell doesn't have really a limit for that. It goes as much memory as you can spare.
Okay.
But some languages, they allow a recursion limit and then you're done. That's why it's pretty cool for solving tasks, recursions, but I would not recommend it always. Most people in production code don't do recursion. Also because it's bad to parallelize it on faster machines and stuff like that. But yeah, it's totally fine. I love that you did it here. That's a pretty neat trick, man.
Yeah, I really like that too, because I was just entering bullshit things and then it just asks you again until you have a valid city. So this is quite cool. Yeah, but it's also a weakness, right? So you could easily destroy the system here by just giving fake inputs in a fast pace. Then
but golden lesson also as a developer: if the user does a lot of stupid stuff on purpose, that's their own fault.
All right.
Like
yeah.
we don't try to protect them from their own silliness. If someone
Yeah.
if someone tries to copy, I don't know, a book into an input field on my website and the browser crashes, I will do the heck to fix that, you know.
Yeah.
That is their own problem because they're silly copying that stuff in. So no, definitely not.
But if you're hosting this as a service, they could turn down your machine, right?
Yeah,
Or-
that's
yeah.
why we need to do extra measures usually.
Yeah,
That's why
right.
building APIs is really hard if you really do it the clean way.
Properly, yeah. Yeah, but here, easy fix, just put in 10 times, and if a user
No,
just
don't put
enters...
it in. Leave it as is. It's
No?
super the
Alright,
way it
okay.
is. No,
Yeah.
would not touch it as a single thing.
Okay,
You did good.
thank you.
So here comes another lesson I learned, which is a bit more advanced.
Okay.
Where do you write your messages to?
Yeah.
This is print.
Yeah, this is
Wait,
just
wait.
print. Yeah, okay.
This is print,
Yeah.
and print writes to standard out.
Yes.
But there's also standard error.
Yeah.
And you won't recognize it in the console because it's both kind of punched in your face. But it makes a difference. Why? Because what we do often in development is we take the input from one program and pipe it into another, especially when we do something like this, have a CLI to fetch data and parse
Yes.
it and give it further.
Yeah.
And if you would above kind of give it out as a JSON payload, we could pipe that into another program. So we're in that domain then. What do you do with logging messages? And here's the big lesson I have for you is the output of the program itself, like the final message, the data or the payload or whatever you want, goes always to standard out.
Yes.
Okay?
Yeah.
Everything else, messages, notifications, warnings, whatever you like, everything for the user, standard error. It does not go to standard out.
Okay.
Why? Because if you pipe the output from one program, like if I expect you to run a program and it outputs the JSON payload, I can just pipe that anywhere.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Because I can pipe standard out and standard error separately into another program.
Yeah.
I can show you once in the shell how it's done. It's easy to do that
Yeah.
by just one sign and then exchanging it to another sign. Okay. So maybe I can quickly, we do that next time. I'm not multitasking compatible.
Yeah,
It's
this
so
is
horrible.
what grep is also doing, right? So if you have
Right.
something
Exactly.
like, yeah.
Exactly. But if you kind of separate both, let's say
Yes.
you give out, you have a warning in between, you give it to the user, so you write some text, you sucked at, or the API was
Yeah.
slow,
Yeah.
and then in the end, still the payload comes out, I can still use it. Because the problem is when your message is before in the same buffer, it's kind of like, I cannot use it anymore because I
Yeah.
cannot process it because there's some clutter around it which is not JSON or
Yes.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
You know, so it's really great if you put out user information to standard error and the final payload you print out to standard out. And I really like because kind of you did it right here. Okay.
Yeah. So this was standard out, but here it should be standard error.
Here it should be standard error actually.
Yeah.
So this is a super pro tip.
Yeah.
I would never think about it until I faced it. Okay, yeah, then you assign here both of them. That's fine, and you return it. And yeah, that's more or less it. You forgot doc strings again, by the way.
Yes. For each method, I need a doc string, right?
Yeah,
Always.
kind of. There are repos. I've seen a lot of advanced repos where they never do for internal stuff doc strings, but you will thank it. Trust me.
Yeah.
Because I'm so lazy myself, and if I don't look at a code for a month, I'm done without doc strings often.
Yeah. Well, I was watching some of the Uncle Bob lessons, right, for clean coding and stuff, and I felt a little bit dumb when I just putting a comment above with the initialization of the weather fetcher, like this initializes a class. I mean, that's a dumb comment, right? But I didn't know really what to put in initializer, what doc string should go in there. But yeah, maybe I have to think more about it. and also detail it a little bit more.
You did fine. Don't worry about it.
Okay.
So we finished the coding review, but we are not done.
No. This list of tasks now.
How do you feel? First of all, like, it's always important to get a little bit back here because I kind of smashed you a bit and smacked you around.
No,
the
actually, I'm feeling pretty good because I have the feeling that I've learned a lot in this code review. So I have now a little bit of a list what I can do to improve the code, and there were some pretty cool lessons here which I didn't think of, and so I'm feeling pretty confident that the next code will be better, and I think that's the whole point.
Glad to know I failed.
Why? Is the goal to make me feel miserable?
No, it's so easy to make people feel miserable. I agree with you. It's really tough to get the topic over, but be truthful and friendly still and that stuff, And take also the time to really sit down with people and explain to them what they did wrong.
And I think what's also most important that you have the feeling that the other has something good in mind with the words they're saying. So that they criticize you not because they want to smack you down to feel better themselves, but to just help you grow. And I think I have the feeling here totally, and I hope our watchers and viewers here have the same feeling as well. Because
I love you too, man.
Yeah, that's about it, right? Sharing what we know and make each other grow.
Yeah, it's true, like it's really important that you help other people grow.
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess we got a little bit back from our head into our heart. That's good.
Yeah.
So now comes a little bit what I usually like to do in every code review is I smack the code first or get smacked in the code. And then afterwards comes a big comment of 5 or 10 lines where I kind of say, okay, the whole picture is not sound for that reason. Because in the code, you can comment the code. But if something's wrong over 50 lines, then don't give a comment. Just in the end, write what your vision would be. Yeah. So what I would recommend to you generally is, of course, these are my quick points. Put the side effect up.
Yeah.
You can write an own function for it. That's fine. Whatever you like. Then you literally don't need classes. You could just do 2 functions called after each other, outputting stuff, and you would be entirely fine. Because what you do is you make a class, call a function, which makes a class, calls a function. That's so linear. Like you would not need any class at all. You would be totally fine off without them.
But isn't that bad style? I learned that you should have classes, object orientation everywhere and stuff like that. So
yeah, I know you come from Java.
The Java.
I'm so sorry for what you had to endure. No, you need to learn different language, different style. Okay. For example, it's quite Pythonic to do side effects also in low levels, because you can during testing patch them away, even though it's bad practice in most other languages. People don't care here about it. So you always need to keep a bit in an eye, of course, in a language. What's easy, do it like the language want to, and not how it's. There's not this super universe truth, So you're in Python. If a function does the job, definitely go for a function and don't use classes or something like that. And especially not classes which call one function. And also you don't need to store all of this. Like, this is all useless. Just put it into the function, do the job, give out something and whatsoever. You could also even do the assemble here something, or assemble even the message, whatever you like. Usually I would just give out some summarized data whatsoever and do the printing even on the highest level. Even for that, that you kind of have user input, get geolocation in one function, give it to the next function, which does the API data fetching, give it out to a print function. And the cool thing is you can exchange all of it. You could exchange the function for the user input getting. You could exchange the printing with some other stuff. You could if you want a different format to print it out in a different format, you could just exchange this lowest function.
Yeah, yeah. Would be loosely coupled, yeah.
Exactly. So much easier, much more straightforward.
Yeah.
So that's, but I know you've been scarred on the warfare with Java, and I'm really, today I got a job offering for Java in the weapons industry. Manu, you already know it. And I must really say, I can bear with weapons, but not with Java. Like, my patience has limits, and my damage I have received through Java is innumerable. So no, definitely not.
Yeah.
Last but not least, something I would really love to see is this stuff here. Not nice. API keys, big topic.
Yeah, I was struggling with that too.
Okay, you cannot do it the clean way anyway, because the clean way would be to have a secret storage database somewhere where you fetch the API key just before running the program. You can easily do that. We can maybe show that also an improvement. But you don't have usually a secret storage system as a private person, so that's bullshit.
Yeah.
Okay.
I tried GitHub Secrets, but then I came to notice that it's only working with GitHub Actions, and I didn't want to use that in the script. So, yeah.
What you did good was you put it into a file.
Yeah.
Because that's what most usually it's ending up. And the best is everyone tells you not to. But most of the time for testing, what you do is you put it into a file in your repository. You put it on the git ignore like you do, and you just run the program.
Yeah.
You should delete afterwards the file at some point, but of course also no one really does. Okay.
Yeah, sure.
There's a little bit of in between. You can put the secret in a keyring and whatsoever fancy stuff, but that's always special solutions. What you usually do is in secrets, you can inject them through the command line, but you usually don't want to do that because the commands are remembered. So they're in your history. So people, if they go on your machine and see the history, they know the API key.
Memory leak and stuff, right?
Not memory leak, but just they can see what you typed in.
Okay.
It's not a problem really, because most people don't care about that either, But if you want to do it really cleanly, secrets come from environment variables.
Okay.
That's how you do it in production.
Yeah.
They are not stored on disk. They are stored as environment variables, and the process then can access it, and no one else, also when you go into the machine and stuff, usually gets hold of that. Okay. Especially if you run as a separate user.
Yeah.
So you could replace this logic here through some logic, a function or something which loads from an environment variable the API key, and if it's not there, you get punched in the face with a nice error message saying, hey, sorry, your API key is missing. Please visit this website because you need an API key from it. And every user will kiss you, man. You don't even need to describe then where in the docs where the API key is or something like that, because the code gives you it. They run the program, they fail, they know where to go. Yeah. It's Superman.
Yeah,
that's beautiful. That's really beautiful. I love that.
Yeah. Sounds good.
So that's it. Usually the cool thing about environment variables is you can create a file next to it, which is called .env, and there you can put it in for testing purposes.
Oh, all right, yeah.
And it can load it from there automatically. And most programs load it automatically from the .env file in the same folder.
Okay.
So that's one way of handling all of this. The best is usually when you use a make file or a task file, which automatically loads this end file. But it's really common practice to have a .env file lying around where stuff is in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's the last piece I would recommend for people in Secrets. Secrets is a bit a longer story, how to do it in production, but we will get to that another time. But yeah. I think that was about it. Let me check quickly. Okay, maybe a bit the meta lessons. Very important. I reviewed this like badass now. Okay, I like I told him where a dot is and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
if you do a review in a company, think about how important is this. If it's not important, don't review it like that. That's a lot of time I'd actually spend just explaining that stuff to you.
Yes.
Like, my salary is high, your salary is high. Like, this is burnt money, man. And it's boring too, because it has no purpose. Like, what annoys me the most is I put a lot of energy in something which is tossed in a trash bin later because it's only used 5 times and then it's gone. Like, why would I put ever so much engineering effort in a stupid little script which is run a few times and then tossed away? So if you do a review, or you do also coding, also when I just do some script like this for toss away in a few weeks, like, the heck, I give a lot of effort into optimizing it, you know? Of course, I try to always get better, but don't get stopped at optimizing structs and all of that in a script which is just worthless, you know, in the end. So think about the bigger picture always. Who's this for? Is it really worth it? And don't think, I should better say feel. Use feeling, you know, not thinking. You will never rationalize if it's right or wrong, you know. Go down, drink a tea, have the feeling like, how do I feel about the script? Like, that's really not worth it, this stuff, you know. And then you already know the answer, you know. You don't need to think. Thinking just will tell you why. But the feeling will tell you in the end what's right or wrong. And if you don't have feeling, you need more experience. So that's okay. You can always, if you don't know, ask someone. Always ask someone. That's how our team functions well. Like, I do stuff, I have no clue. Before I do something, I ask someone who has better feeling for something like me, you know? So think about experience, think about that for writing code and for reviewing. Because my standard review, if I know it's not, I don't care, is LGTM. Like, looking good to me, and then it's kind of meaning, I looked over your code. I could not find any red flags, but no promises that it's not some crap somewhere breaking you. And that's okay too, you know. So don't expect, if you want to be a good programmer, to always be like, no, like, there is a dot missing, you know. Just go in, use feeling, you know. Like, is it worth it or whatsoever? Also, be aware, time is a valuable resource, and no one wants to program stuff no one will ever use, you know. That's just a total motivation killer. That's really what it is about. Well,
thank you for the lesson.
That's it, man.
For the advice.
That was the senior mode, man.
Senior.
Finally, I can my eyes, eh?
Yeah, you really did put through with it. I thought, will he? But you did. The sunglasses.
I was
stayed in your role
myself.
That's
a good reminder to me. No, so this is kind of like one task. I hope you also learned a lot. I also want to tell the people in the community, if you want some reviews like that in the future too, you can just send us a notification on our Discord channel. You can find that in the description below. And we will do a proper review. Please, as a pull request, I really don't like any other way. If you don't know how to do it,
next lesson.
It's easy. Next lesson, or read it up on the internet, or ask quickly or something. And this is really your chance to get better at things. If it's too much, we need to filter a bit. So we will see how we handle it, but we will try to support you as good as we can in our spare time and give you feedback on your code.
Right.
But I just want you to see that you can write a fairly good script and there's still a lot of air up. You know? That's kind of like what I really wanted to show here. No matter how confident you feel, there's always more, but also use feeling, not to overdo it. But so thank you very much for your time. Manu, do you have anything else to say? I'm kind of rushing this thing without asking you.
No, I don't think so. I mean, we're almost, I think, a little bit above an hour in, so I think we did a fairly good job of reviewing it and commenting on the code. I definitely have a list on things to do with it, and I think it's also good then that you can see the changes made to the code afterwards as a commit, and then I think that's a great value here. So yeah, from my side also, thank you for your time that you were here watching us doing this exercise, and yeah, I think we will keep the same style for the next lessons, I guess.
How was it friendly?
Yeah.
Need to smack you next time, or
well, yeah, I'm insanely motivated, so I will take every punch to the chin and just stay on track, I hope. Yeah, but yeah, it's pretty tough. I think it's pretty tough to break me on the motivation side of things, because but yeah, I mean, I was swearing a lot.
I thought that too until meeting the right person.
Okay. Yeah, okay. I mean, if there's pressure and you have deadlines, I think this will be definitely not as enjoyable. But I think because I see also that I learned so much from it, I just am motivated to go through with it. But there were times when I coded that thing that I sweared kind of a lot. I'm not quite sure if we release ever the footage for the whole coding experience, because this stupid API that got...
It's too boring.
Yeah, it's too boring. But if you just scroll through it, there's some wow, that's funny moments all over the place. So yeah,
we can do some outtakes.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah,
Outtakes.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think it's just normal process, at least for me. If I code something new where I don't know how to do it, yeah, and then this does not work, and yeah, you get frustrated, but you then just have to push through.
We turn it around, maybe also in the future. Maybe I code something and you review it. I want to give you also maybe the chance to...
I mean,
that's a good idea.
That's maybe a good idea, because I think the review process has also to be learned and practiced, because I would not know how to do it, but maybe because with the experience,
you just need to rant,
Yeah,
you just need.
I just need to rant. Well, that's not good, son.
No. How you get really good is you lower your sensitivity threshold to I'm pissed by anything, and then you start go through it.
Yeah.
And it sounds silly, but in a UI, for example, when I make a front end. You just lower it and you click one button twice too much. And you're like, what is this sucker? Like, what the heck, Like, who did this? Of course, I did it myself. but I get the feeling how to do it better,
Yeah.
Yeah, but of course, like I said, go a little bit with, is it really relevant or not? And shit like that.
But I think that's also a skill to learn, to be thorough, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think that's good
not
idea.
only thorough, but the real skill is to develop the feeling. The real skill is not to develop all the, how to say, people always focus just on the coding, but develop feeling for everything. Like, is this too much detail, too less? Do I need to work more here on? What does the user need? All of this is all feeling, and this is all you need. And yeah.
But I think that's also the hardest thing to develop, is it? Or isn't it?
Oh, no.
I don't know.
More or less. You need a lot of pain. Like, pain teaches you.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I'm totally down for this, yeah.
Like, nothing motivates you more than angry. Like, this code, for example, is so good because nothing motivates you more than angry teenagers.
Yeah.
If you just do one thing wrong, they will smack you much more than... like my employer will smack Microsoft for doing MS Teams stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
Because rage teenagers are really your worst customers.
Yeah.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. Then you know how your
teach you a good
product
lesson.
goes.
Yeah. Right. They have the energy. They will get pissed on anything. Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Then I think we can close it. Thank you very much for watching.
Yeah.
And
thank you.
We will then start with the lessons next. Where we will transform the script here into something else.
Right. We do that. Thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.